Donald Trump didn't conspire with Russia during his 2016 bid for president. That's the conclusion of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's 2-year investigation.
There was no collusion with Russia, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There was no collusion with Russia.
The Attorney General William Barr has summarised Mueller's findings in a 4-page letter to lawmakers. It says Mueller found no conspiracy, despite a number of offers from Russia-affiliated people to assist the campaign. It doesn't say the president committed a crime by obstructing justice, but it didn't exonerate him. Trump went beyond Barr's conclusion and is claiming it as an outright victory.
This was an illegal takedown that failed. And hopefully somebody's going to be looking at the other side. So it's complete exoneration, no collusion, no obstruction.
But not everyone agrees. There are now questions being raised about the Attorney General's summary of the investigation.
His conclusions raise more questions than the answer, given the fact that Mueller uncovered evidence that, in his own words, does not exonerate the president. It is unconscionable that President Trump would try to spin the special counsel's findings as if his conduct was remotely acceptable.
The Attorney General may be called to testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee. There's also likely to be a lengthy political battle to make the report public. So the fight and fallout from the Mueller investigation looks far from over. Liz Maddock, TRT World.
For more on this, we're joined now by Jeffrey Tucker in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. He's the editorial director at the American Institute for Economic Research. Thank you for joining us on Money Talks. This summary of the Mueller report was not at all what Democrats and the media were expecting. How much of a loss is it for them and a win for Trump?
You cannot overestimate how big a win this is for Trump. In Trump land, there's champagne and celebration all day today, and massive suffering and demoralization on the part of the Democratic Party and the media that's pushed this line for 2 years. It was never really plausible. It was kind of a story that was developed out of an attempt to revive Red Scare, Cold War fears and paranoia. It never quite stuck with the American people. Like in 2 years of these investigations, I can't remember having a discussion with a single person who brought this up with any kind of believability. There's been incredulity towards this story all along. And this report, I don't care what people are trying to pretend, this is a complete, basically as Trump says, it's an exoneration for all the important issues. Whether there's complaints about obstruction or not, it's hard to say, but this is an immense victory for Trump. And I'm by the way, I say this, I have plenty of complaints against Trump, as viewers know who watch this show all the time. I'm on complaining about him all the time. But this kind of wild story that was told after the election for purely political reasons, today it's just been completely demolished and blown up.
Mm-hmm. But despite what the summary says, it has been established that there were numerous contacts with Russians by the Trump team during the campaign and transition. But what does it mean then that Mueller didn't find collusion with Russia on the election?
It's hard to know what exactly collusion with Russia would really mean. Like a secret deal with Putin or something like that. Like that never happened. And there's no question that the Trump campaign was looking for help wherever they could get it, and was glad to have an audience with people from anywhere all over the world. And they've been very transparent about this. And the campaign was chaotic. They were amateurs, and they'd get a phone call and they'd have a meeting. They go, well, that's kind of weird, and walk away from it. That's about the extent of what the contacts were. But you have to remember this weird vision that the Democrats and the investigators and the media were trying to conjure up, that there was some really like a Cold War style secret deal between Putin and Trump to manipulate the election so that he could become president, and therefore he would be an illicit president. And, this was their whole plan to, get rid of Trump. In retrospect, the whole thing seems utterly crazy, And I think it's really interesting. Trump had some extraordinary words the other day on the tarmac when he was speaking. He called it an illegal takedown, which is very close to claiming that this was an attempted coup. And I can just tell you that among Trump supporters, this is what is widely believed. So the resentment and the anger out there right now is at the height. And I think the Democrats today need to be very worried about the way they've conducted themselves over the last couple of years.
You're right, but Democrats are not likely to let this go. What do you think will happen next?
I think they will let it go. I think the initial impulse that you've heard over the last 24 hours is, oh, we've still got 80 investigations going on. This is not conclusive yet. But over the next 48 hours you watch, there's going to be a gradual rolling back. These people have been burned very, very badly. Politically, it's been catastrophic for them. And I don't think that too many Democrats are going to be willing to push this thing too much further because the conclusions of the absence of collusion were just really too decisive. And keep in mind, this is not what anybody expected. I think that many people sincerely believed that there was this secret thing going on. I mean, I was always incredulous toward this. I never really believed this, but a lot of people expected the Mueller report to say something different. And this is the best gift that Trump could have ever been given politically in the last 2 years. It's amazing.
All right, Jeffrey Tucker in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Great having you on. Thank you so much, Jeffrey.